Let's begin. So we connect to our Ujjayi breath, aligning the skull over the sit bones. And allowing ourselves to sense our own state. So that's our physiologic state, our emotional state, our energetic state, our however it occurs to you. It might be a tired state, a wakeful state. And allow your eyes to start to settle. It's kind of the focus of no focus. It's letting the motion, the movement of the eyes grow quieter. So that the motion of the neck can grow softer, smoother. So that the quality of breath can deepen. All these things work together. The state of our body, these little things, the movement of the eyes, the motion in the neck, the sense of our spine. Which informs our sense of self. So we can begin this process of kind of a feedback loop that acts as balm for our nervous system, for our physiology. Okay. So we're going to add one more piece, our breath, our little pranayama. So whether you're working eyelids open, closed, for now it doesn't matter. But just continue to let the eyes move into a soft, it's like a soft rest note. And we'll inhale 10 and we'll exhale 12. This is just a framework, and hopefully this framework ever so slightly stretches out and elongates the rhythm of our breath. Begin whenever you find that next wave to grab. If you're working with eyes open, one of the additional phenomena you can notice in the quieting of the vision and the opening up of the breath and the fluidizing of the neck is your blink rate. Just start to blink less and less. 10 in, 12 out. We'll do a few more rounds. So focus of no focus. I'm not converging my vision on any one thing, but letting eyes, motion start to rest. Blinking starts to rest. There's some estimates that there's about 80% of our nerve information is going from body to brain. And really only the remaining small amount these are broad stroke numbers, is going brain to body. So we're letting ourselves come back into a state where we're using more of our sensing, so more of our brain and our body together. All right. So let's set our left leg out once you find a nice little transition point. Set the left leg out, knees set widely. And we're reaching into a side bend, but let's start with the left side. We're going to get the whole trunk just lengthened out. Inhale, reach up with the left elbow or hand. So spreading out that whole left side ribs. And exhale, lengthening, reaching. We'll set that hand down. Inner left leg. Lively, lively sport. Inhale, take the right arm up. Spread the heel of the palm. Exhale, reach through every fingertip. Forward fold. Bringing the right hand down. Inhale. We'll turn the ribs, sternum face shin. Use your hands on the ground to create just a light, suggestive lengthening. And exhale with your low belly muscles. Get those wrangled into the picture. Say hello to them. And release. Inhale. We'll come upright. We'll switch sides. We'll set the right leg out, straightening. So 2 moves, side bend and fold. Set the knees widely apart. We'll start with the right side. Inhale, raise, reach up through the right elbow or hand. The whole right side gets to see the light of day. Exhale, reach to that right arm, right side. Setting hand down. When we inhale again, the left arm up, spread the heel of the palm. As you're wrapping the shoulder blade around the ribs, feel that the ribs are counter wrapping. This will allow you to turn, to feel the chest turning toward the horizon instead of toward the ground. Forward fold. Inhale. Let's bring the left hand down toward the ground, turning the sternum to face the right shin. Letting these few wonderful breaths spread and open and wake the backside. And release. All right. Let's pause for a moment. We can do a little foot thing. There's muscles in the foot and there's active foot, and I just want to highlight a couple more. And so we'll use a block, a wall, and the ground. Let's start it on the ground. Let me show you. Oops. All right, so I do think that this is the best location. This is my green screen, just so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so it's like a little inchworm move. So it's a way of expanding and gathering the foot, kind of like consciously involving ourselves in the pulsation of the foot. So I'll leave my heel down. Actually, I'll start right at the end of this block so you can see how much travel I'm getting. I'm going to expand my foot, the forefoot, toward the, we'll say, the finish line. And then while my forefoot is planted, my heel gets drawn in. And then I expand the forefoot forward. And then I gather the heel in. Now I'm doing this, I'm not scrunching my toes and grasping the ground. So you'll have to just keep yourself honest on that. So I'm actually lifting my toes just for the purpose of keeping the foot honest. Of course we could do this with the toes down. Okay, so I've just done a few of these, but you notice how much distance I've traveled. Just about that much. So we're going to do both sides. We'll do them individually. I think it might be a little surprising sometimes, like when we're trying to talk to our foot like, hey. So I'll just go through it again. If you want to use some measure or line just to know if you're moving the foot forward or backward, you can use a line. Okay. So just kind of rock onto the heel, expand the forefoot forward, gather the heel forward. Okay. Now, if you're feeling like a real pro at the inchworm game, can you do it with the toe pads off the ground? It's not better. It's just different. Okay. Once you've traveled forward, maybe a few inches, travel backward with that foot. So the heel stays down. I gather the forefoot toward the heel. I press into the forefoot and I expand the heel away from the forefoot. So it's gathering and expanding. We'll just travel a few inches. Here you go. Look at those inchworms go. It's a kind of a fun little, like, how do I get that move to occur? So if you haven't done it in a while, or let's try the other foot. So we're starting it on the ground because in a moment, a little bit later, we'll do it with a prop. There's lots of facets to this active foot. Active foot is kind of like, you know, it's a broad descriptor. It's like red wine, right? It's very broad. There's lots of little fine points under that umbrella category. So really try to expand the foot out and try to condense. So we're not going for maximum speed and travel, but really involving ourselves in that pulsation of the foot. I'm going to go backward with my second foot. All right. So that was the warm-up. And you can still be ringing the phone number to your feet as we do this next one. This one I'm doing with a wall. So there's the same principle at hand where there's an expansion of the foot, but now we're adding work, so the foot is working in a different shape. So please notice that I'm getting a block to kind of create a high heel. My heels are up on the block, like 3 inches up. Okay. I'm just going to touch the wall to show you. So I'm going to pick up the forefoot and then lay down the forefoot. Okay. Press, expand, and move the forefoot down to the ground. Okay. I just reposition my heels on this a little bit. Because as I'm kind of holding my weight in these two places, the heel and the forefoot, there's some different muscles between the foot bones that are at play. We'll just do a few. So it's like my inner heels, kind of the inner half of my heel gets a nice little platform on the block. You could use something lower than a standard yoga block if you needed. And just by pressing out through the heel, I raise my forefoot off the ground, higher than the block. And then I can reach my forefoot toward the ground. I'm just going to do a few here. Okay. So sometimes I'll ask us in a warrior stance to kind of reach out through the heel. This helps us kind of get that feeling a little bit. Okay. And while we're here, third move, last move. So I've got my heels supported high up on the block. The inner forefoot is snuggled up right against the block. I'm going to give a little squeeze the inner foot into the block. And release. We'll settle the heels back down and enjoy your funny walk. And now we'll lie back for elbow to knee. Inhale, we'll float the head and the shoulder blades off the ground. Curl tailbone. And now exhale when you reach out through that left foot and leg. Hopefully that is like a really bright antenna. And pull low belly down. Inhale, left knee bend. Curling tailbone. Exhale, right leg out reach. Pull low belly down. Right, we'll do 4 more per side. Please continue your pace. Grunt free. So that fluidity of breath travels easily in and out. We'll grab a roll and we'll do 1 more. Now, just a little note, a block does in a pinch, but often I prefer a roll, and I'll tell you why. So in the foot, sometimes are the muscles of the foot or even some of the tissues in the leg, around the hip, can be very differently toned on one side of our body than the other. So there's no guarantee that these leg muscles and tissues are equally toned or tensioned. So when we have a roll, it allows the legs to reach at their own length and in their own tensional way. When we use a block, we kind of lock our legs together, and one might be a little bit more contracted into the socket. One might be a little bit more stretched out somewhere. And we just kind of lock it into place when we use a block. So yeah, I'll use a block in a pinch, but that's my rationale for why a roll more often works a little bit better. All right. Inhale into low belly, low back. And squeeze the roll. Curling tailbone, exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up. So if you did have a roll, you could even play with, you can lift or reach the left leg a little bit more than the right a little bit more than the left. So there's a little play in the sacrum too. So use that judiciously. Pull low belly down. All right, inhale, let head down, tailbone down. Squeeze, roll, curl tailbone. Exhale. Head, shoulders up. Gather, squeeze, reach up, pull low belly down. All right, let's continue. Let's do about 6 more. So that inchworm move we started in the foot, kind of pulsing at the foot. Notice we're doing it again up the leg line, in the muscles around the sacrum, in the muscles around the pelvis. This pulsation is such an incredible, I want to say, it starts things. It starts things circulating. It helps us remember that pulse of movement. That's that. Perfect. We'll let the roll, the prop go. Let's set up for a dolphin, because I still like dolphin. And as you're setting the forearms down on the ground, part of our sternum facing the ground here is to create that push. That lets these shoulder blade muscles come into play. And exhale the knees off the ground. Release. I'm going to turn on the mat for frog. So because we're widening out our legs and we're on the knee and the foot bones, create a little bit of padding. And then moving to the forearms. Wherever the good amount of sensation is, allow the eyes to relax. So the eyes can offer a little bit of feedback regarding the quality of contact that we're establishing throughout our body. So awareness, feeling, sensing accurately what's occurring, noticing. So if you find yourself feeling that a pose has irritability or struggle, or you're kind of squirming around a little bit, what would happen if we started to relax the eyes and soften the neck and then deepen the breath? How would we alter that contact with what we're feeling? Remember, sensory information. There's so much coming from body going to brain. All right, we're going to start to exit this frog. So you can use your hands to post. You can use your forearms to crawl out of there. Now, once we're standing, we'll take tree again. So I'm going to start on the ground. And that's not because beginner, it's because we did a little priming move earlier. So I'm going to put my heel on my inner calf. So I'm kind of going just to the inside of the shin bone. There's a little almost groove there where the shin kind of dives into the muscle. I'm going right in there. And the forefoot's on the ground. So as I'm pushing with the right forefoot, I get a chance to gather my entire inner leg into the heel. Okay, now we're going to go up a little bit higher. So now my heel is kind of right where the calf muscle is. And I can press into that calf muscle. I can feel, oh, there's my shin bone. I keep gathering the left leg into the heel. Okay, we'll work it up one more place. Thigh or above the knee. Okay. And sometimes for the balancing, we're inching our foot, and sometimes we're expanding our foot. So having that inching action is actually going to help us, I think, with some of the balance components. So, you know, inch, expand, inch, expand. It's that pulsing movement of the foot, its ability to gather and relax and gather and relax. There you go. Good, let's release. Let's try the other side. So again, starting with the forefoot on the ground and the heel above the ankle bone. So I'm right in that soleus shin territory. And I'm placing my left foot just like I had done on the block. Right? Same action. Pushing down my forefoot into the ground and making contact, heel into soleus. All right, right leg, let's learn from that. I'm going to gather in. I can make that little inchworm action, and there my calf kind of brightens up under my heel. All right, let's go up a little higher, foot to the higher calf. Good, and one more. Foot above knee. And if your balance is really steady and tree, play with that little contract, gather, and expand of the foot, just so you can feel that you can feel that spirilic torsioning that is possible from the foot. Okay. And release. We'll set the foot down. And we'll stand at the top of our mat. Oh, I did. Oh, we can do a few things. Good. Inhale. Arms overhead. And exhale, fold. Lunge, heel up, knee up. Inhale the left foot back. The heel is up, the knee is up. I'm going to recommend that make contact with the big toe and press the toe pad. At least the big toe pad. You can press with more, but press as you move up into your lunge. Now, I'm not going to have a really great view, but you'll have to feel very carefully in your own body if that toe pad is pushing, propelling, or if it's pushing, condensing. Feel in the toe joint if the joint is being pulled together like a scrunch, or if that toe pad can push as if to propel you forward. It takes a lot of kind of discerning feeling in the big toe and the foot, but they're different. Okay. We'll pivot that left heel to the ground for twisting warrior. Inhaling, the foot reaches. Exhale, the left elbow over the right thigh. So now the right foot, just for fun, We're not going anywhere, but can you still articulate the foot as if you're condensing, expanding? Can you do it without the toe joints, the toe pads, grasping the ground? Can you feel what that may be transferring into the hip, the right hip? So we're talking right foot, right hip. If I enact that little inchworm set of movements, condensing and expanding in the right foot, what occurs in the right hip? I know you're doing it because I see this little wave in the breeze. Twisting extended warrior, moving on exhale. We'll slide the left armpit down to the thigh, and the left hand down to the ground. The right arm overhead. And twisting warrior interlock. We'll pass the right hand beside the hip. Lift the left arm under the right thigh. Release. When we inhale and unwind, grab a hold of a block, if you like, for half moon. So we're turning the other way. So right hand a little outside and forward of that right foot. And opening up the ribs, chest reaches forward, opening up the leg, the hip, left leg reaching back. And inhale, bring the hands down. The left leg reach way back as you set it down. Exhale, step back. Chaturanga. We'll lower to the ground in the most reasonable way. So if you need knees, use knees. Okay. Now I want you to pretend there's a block or something to grasp between your inner legs, your inner ankles rather. And inhale, draw the chest forward. Use those inner legs, reach the legs back. Exhale, lower down, downward dog. Whee! We'll start with the lunge. Inhale the left foot forward. Lunge, right knee, right heel up. So the right knee off the ground, the right heel off the ground. So just a reminder, I'll try to show this way. With your toe pad on the ground, can you push the toe pad propel? If I push the toe pad and I feel like I'm balling up a piece of newspaper in my toe joint. It'll take a little bit of unlearning and relearning. Can I push through the toe pads? So I can feel that propulsion. And there is structure that goes from the big toe up behind the shin. So this is germane to our structure and our foot arch and our balance. Okay. And I'll do a much better job of showing you and describing this when we're in person. Okay. And we'll pivot that right heel to the ground, coming into warrior one. 4, twisting warrior. Exhaling the right elbow over the left thigh. Can you feel that little inchworm activity in the foot? Can you do it without the toe pads grasping the ground? Can you do it with the toe pads touching the ground? All right. Twisting, extended warrior. So we're going to keep that twist. It's a good one. Exhale the right armpit nearer to the thigh. The right hand to the ground. And then the left arm overhead. And interlock. Inhaling past the left hand beside the hip, the right arm under the thigh. So can I use my toe pads at will? Can I release the toe pads at will? Do I have the choice to make my foot soft, responsive? Okay, when we release the hands, we're unraveling all the way, coming into half moon. So we'll set the left hand down. I like a block. Setting it outside and forward of the foot. And the right leg hip height. So this might be interfering with a preconception of the foot having to kind of grab and maintain its spot constantly or even rigidly. What I'm suggesting with these little cues, like playing with that inchworm, you can kind of gather the ground up like a little ball of clay. You can kind of expand your foot almost like you're smushing the clay onto a table. Using the toe pads is that we're keeping this foot in a very responsive, choiceful, listening state. Right? What are these conditions that I can put myself in that, so I don't just default to automaticity? It keeps me lively, aware, awake. All right, here comes the big reach. Inhale, right hand to the ground, right foot, reach, 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 reach. All the way to the ground softly. Good. Chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, lower. Downward dog. All right. So I want to show you one final thing and then we'll give it a rest. So stand just to rest. So we're going to play with that leg reaching down. We're doing this on the heels of yesterday's head to ankle. Okay. So we'll take, three reps per side. So I'll be using my hands on the ground and starting just with my leg elevated, just as best as I can, straightened as best as I can. And playing with reaching while I'm lowering through my front foot. So that just make a very sweet, light touch. And then I'll just rock up. Okay. So what I'm practicing here is not dropping my foot. So it's one part, the back leg is reaching, like where is the ground? Where's the wall behind me? But also this front leg is lowering, 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 lowering. So I never give up and just let my front leg drop. So we'll do 3 reps per side. So start on any side that you like. Use blocks if you like. And we just come into, like we're just kind of breezing by a vertical split. Now my foot is, I can still move it and I can work with it. And you start to reach, breathing, reaching. I'm going slowly enough so that there's more than one breath per descent. And you're just making the quietest, softest, longest descent. Okay. There you go. I'm gonna watch the next sum. The height of the vertical splits doesn't matter. It's just a starting point. It's the descent. There you go. It's the reach plus the lower. Good. Good. So when you've done about a few on one side, please just switch over to the other side. I'm still looking. Seeing some of this sweet ankle action. Mm-hmm. We'll be playing with this move as I get a little closer to kicking up into handstand work, which is on our horizon. Good. Good reach. Yep. And I know this is knee bend contingent, so if you can only bend your knee a certain amount, then the descent is just, it's going to occur in a certain footprint. Good. Oh, good. Bonus points for keeping your neck relaxed. I see multiple breaths per descent. Oh, this is so good. Great. And it looks like we're right there. Have a seat. Use any release, lying release move that feels pertinent. Okay. So that's hugging the legs in, if that's folding. And when you release for Shavasana, once more we'll allow our eye muscles to grow restful. As one of my music teachers would say, Gwen, you play the rest notes. So it's not that I'm shutting off action. I'm taking a decidedly different action towards stillness. It's a kind of a reverent observation of stillness. And we're doing it with the eyes. And gradually, we do it in and through the entire rest of our body. So it's nothing to focus on. It's not a hardening around a single point. It's not a focus to the point of excluding all else. It's a movement toward observing stillness. And it actually lets peripheral and more broadly set information reach in. So by resting the eyes, not focusing, but resting, there's a little more peripheral. And I mean that in terms of your vision field, also peripheral, like your nerves, the feeling and the sensing at the edge of your body. Your peripersonal space, right? That sense of who we are just around our skin envelope, which is an incredibly important sensing to do in our social learning, our social relearning. We primarily approach our yoga on the mat as self-study, but there's no way that we can avoid all of the ways that we've developed and redevelop ourselves socially. But at an individual level, we can certainly feel all of those places in the body that interact with others. This peripheral of our body, skin, the space around the skin, noticing our internal state so that we can do that when we're in dialogue with others. All right. So let's conclude here by bending knees, turning to a side, and using both hands to press to seated. Namaste.